Cyanix Aurora, night vision camcorder. It's a palm quarter. It's that small, even smaller. It's lightweight, weighs next to nothing. Even with the Raynox wide-angle conversion lens on it, it's still small and compact. But that means a small battery. It uses a Fujifilm model MP-50 3.4 watt-hour battery. That's the old battery for cameras from 10 or 15 years ago, but you could still get them. It can't be more than 2 by 2 by a quarter of an inch thick. And under cold conditions, even with a fully charged battery, it struggles to do 1 hour. So in this segment, I was changing the battery every half hour. So there were 3 segments a half hour long approximately, and I had to change the battery every time. So I had to take it off the tripod head and put it back. And even though these files are continuous one after each other, I didn't line it up specifically in the same spot. So what you're going to do is you're going to see Cassiopeia, the double cluster, and Perseus. Just to let you know, this is it was 15 degrees out, or maybe it was 12 degrees out, Fahrenheit, not centigrade. So it was damn cold, as they say. All right, so here's Cassiopeia is sort of left to center. To the right of center, you'll see the double cluster and those stars hanging on the right side towards the middle. That's Perseus. And this is the first segment. And look at all the starlink flitting around. This is like at nautical twilight. You can always look that up online. When does nautical twilight start? Well, when the sun sets, you wait to nautical twilight. And then you can set up your night vision camera and you could do capturing stuff. And that's what I did. Of course, the sun has just recently set. In December, it sets at like 4:30 or something crazy like that. So the sky was dark, but it was still, the sun was still shining high up over the western horizon. So these Starlink things, if that's what they are, who knows, they could be UFOs or drones or anything, alien spaceship. So that's the deal. They're being illuminated by the sun, but we're in the shadow, we're in the nighttime, and that's why you see so many. But as the Earth's rotation progresses and we go deeper and deeper into the night, well, the Earth blocks out the sun's rays from everything that's overhead. So say from about, I don't know, 8 p.m. To 3:30, 4 p.m., well, you're not going to see too much because the sun is on the opposite side of the Earth. So unless these things have engines and they power up, you're not going to see them. Unless they're very high up. If they're very high up, the more high they up, then the more you could see. Now what's going to happen, you're going to see these constellations jump. Let's notice where the Cassiopeia is right now. And when I change the battery and I put it back, I didn't line it up, so it jumped to a lower position. And this first segment has all sorts of these objects, unidentified flying objects, UAPs, whatever you want to call them, right? Unidentified aerial phenomena. But I think it's they're reflecting the sun's rays, and that's why we're seeing them. And the second one, the amount of these objects drops dramatically. And in the third one, there's almost none at all, but there's still some interesting things happening. So I do a lot of my night vision video in the morning because I have a cat, and he gets me up, and I got to feed him. So then if it's clear out, I just set this up. Now, I don't stand there with it and verify this stuff is happening. One reason is because I have a ton of sky glow because I live close to New York City, and these things, these dim ones, I can't see them. But this thing is infrared sensitive, so it's sensitive to infrared, and it could punch through haze or sky glow, and it appears more natural. But that's just the way it is. Look at all these damn things. That's amazing. The Ruskies or developing, NATO intelligence says the Ruskies are developing see how it just jumped? This is a contiguous file at just the time it took me to swap the batteries out. But I didn't line it up in the exact same spot. That's the only difference. So the Ruskies are developing anti-Starlink satellite killers, which are these little bombs that spray shrapnel in the Starlink orbit, and then Starlink runs into them and destroys them, gets destroyed. But that's just what NATO intelligence says. Now, it's a known fact that some Starlink satellites are tumbling out of control, and they could smash into other Starlinks. I don't know who monitors this. Is it all controlled by AI? There's so many of them that they must have collision avoidance built into them. But I guess eventually 2 Starlink satellites will collide, and then that should be interesting. And like I said, there's older Starlink that are much smaller, and they only have like a couple-year lifetime, and then they got to deorbit them, and then we get to see a fireball. That's cool. And then the newer ones are bigger, and they can move around, because when you see Starlinks in a parade or some formation, they break apart and they go into their proper orbits. That's how it works. Now, you notice how, the Starlinks are pretty much disappeared. And that's just the way it is. You think if they were drones or something, you could see them all night. Or alien spaceships, they have their own propulsion. I don't know what to say. But if you want to see the most Starlink, you go out right after sunset, or right before sunset, during nautical twilight. Now, it's so cold, like I said before, or if it's hot and there's bugs, I don't go out and stand there with the thing. So I reviewed the video the next day or later on in the day, and then I said, oh, that was interesting. Yeah. But the purpose is, that was an airplane. See, that one was an airplane. The purpose is to show you what's up in the sky, how the ecology of the sky has changed just over the past 5 years. Starlink used to be cool. Oh, I seen Starlink. Oh, they were on parade. Oh, look, there's a wagon train of Starlink. But now, there's so much clutter up there. If you want to do, and then there's meteors. If I have a lens, say I have a f1.2 50 millimeter lens. I set the ISO to like 6,000. See how it jumped again? This is the last segment. So if I'm using a very sensitive setting for my chip, and I have a fast lens, and even if I'm using exposures of 4 seconds, even around midnight, when I make my exposures, sometimes I see tiny little trails. And I say, well, maybe the Starlink is so dim I can't see it, but the camera can capture it. So there's that too. So there's a lot of stuff up there. I have some stuff from like my first Cyanix Aurora, and I have to go back and see what's on it. And you know what? There's not too much on it. And this is a new phenomenon, and it's only going to get worse because Starlink is really ramping up their launches, and the constellation is going to be like 20,000. And like I said, the Chinese want to have a 30,000 constellation of their Starlink. And then there's American GPS and a Ruski GPS, and I think the EU wants their GPS. That has to be Starlink, those two things flying in tandem. Or maybe it's UFOs, or maybe it's fighter planes. Who knows what it is? But there's all this stuff up there. Tons and tons of this stuff. And all you have to do is go look. I guess if you live out way, far away from cities, it must put on quite a show. But remember, this is 4x fast forward. I compress it because no one's going to look at a 45-minute video of little dots moving really slow. And sometimes I think people aren't even going to look at a 12-minute video because we all got ADD, right? That's what we got from highly processed food. Or maybe it's these are really eggs from 3i/Atlas, and it's dropping spores and turning everyone into pod people. Well, what else could it be? I don't know. But it's amazing that you could buy this technology for $300 and set it up and check out what's happening. Now, I didn't see any meteors, but when I do this fast forward business, it cuts out meteors because they're only on one or two frames. So meteors and boloids, they get like eradicated from the record. So I got to get better editing software so I could take out these meteor and bolide clips and make a video out of it. I'll get around to that one of these days soon, I hope. But you could do this yourself, and apparently people are doing it. I haven't seen any fast forwarded like this. And Starlinks from a long time ago were a lot less than today. I'll keep you posted on spectacular things that I may see. But I just want to point out that you can see it before sunrise or after sunset. And most people are around after sunset, especially in the winter. I use black and white because if I leave it in the color mode, it gets all blotchy and it adds a file size. So I said, well, the color's good if you're in an urban setting like in a city with lights and stuff and streets, and it's really great for that, some sort of artificial illumination. But for the night sky, black and white is the way to go. Believe me, I've done it. It's horrible. And then it's an extra step to extract it anyway. So why should I do post-processing, get rid of color, when I could set the camera to black and white and that's it? So that's why I shoot black and white.